Welcome to day 3 of reviewing every Joker in Balatro, and today we're talking about Lusty Joker, which played cards with Heart Suit give +3 molt when scored. This is very similar to the Greedy Joker, it's just hearts instead of diamonds. So kind of the major thing to think about as far as hearts go is if we make our deck all hearts for this Joker, then later on in the run maybe we're going to look for Bloodstone. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about Bloodstone in maybe 100 days or so whenever we get to that. But I think Bloodstone is probably not very good just because it's inconsistent and has killed me quite a few times. And so when I think about hearts, I think that this is probably not the strongest suit. I think that it can be. You know, you get Bloodstone. You get some lucky heart face cards. You get a sock and buskin, you know, lucky cat, the dice, the baseball card. You get a pretty strong setup going. However, I think that just Bloodstone alone, it on its own, because of that 1 and 2, it can really screw you over, and it screwed me over many, many times. So thinking about if we're starting off making a ton of heart cards for the Lusty Joker, you know, is that worth it in hopes of later on finding a Bloodstone? And the answer is probably not. As far as yesterday's video goes, I'd also like to say I said Greedy Joker's C tier, maybe B tier. That's completely crazy. This Joker is absolutely C tier, if not lower. There's no way this is a B tier Joker, so I'd like to apologize for that. As far as Lusty Joker goes, I think that it is slightly better than Greedy Joker. But I don't think it's the strongest of the suit cards. I think that I kind of overrate hearts a lot as far as when I'm playing, and that in actuality, Bloodstone is too inconsistent to try to build towards that when you're doing a run. So as far as Lusty Joker goes, I think that, you know, like we talked about with the diamonds, you're going to have to play a lot of flushes. Flushes aren't great. They don't scale well. Because of that, really this card is only going to be good maybe the first 4 antes, and then it's going to fall off a cliff, and you're going to want to stop playing flushes, start going towards pairs or something that scales better, is more easy and consistent to play. And so this card is really not worth it. There's a few different bosses that are going to affect this, like we kind of talked about yesterday. You know, you got the decreased level of played poker hands, which if you're de-leveling your flushes to play, that's going to be really bad. You know, where's the heart ones? There's one that debuffs all the hearts, you know, so that's going to be really bad too if you get that one. We also talked about yesterday the boss blind that, you know, debuffs the cards you've already played. And so if you're playing all hearts, and you get in the big blind and small blind, you play all your hearts with your Lusty Joker, it's going to be really bad when then you get to the boss blind and you have no hearts left to play. So I think this is another C tier Joker. Not great. I do think hearts are slightly better, and I think hearts can be extremely powerful, but you need the right setup. You need to have that Oops All 6, that Bloodstone. They need to be face cards. You need the Sock and Buskin. You need the Lucky Cat. You need, like, you know, a baseball card, because those are all uncommon, so then you get an extra 1.5 for each. And so, you know, you can do something very fun, very powerful that can easily get you into ante 10, 11, 12, you know, and then falls off a cliff right around there, but gets you well past ante 8. And so this is the starting point for a run like that if you find it early on. However, that's not going to happen very often, and in a normal circumstance, you know, this Joker is just going to be a solid, like, you know, maybe C tier, great for the first couple rounds, first few antes, but it's not really something to necessarily build your whole run around the Lusty Joker here. So we're going to place this in around the C tier. I think you can get a, yeah. My son wants me to read him a book, so I'm going to just finish this off real quick and then read this pizza book to him. But we don't, you don't want to take Eternal for this. You probably don't want to take Rental unless you only have it for a few rounds. And that's about it for day 3. Tomorrow we're going to talk about Wrathful Joker, and I'll see you there.